Hey guys, welcome to 2024 and a very special spin-off of Algos and 10 called Coding Missions for the new church. As you can tell, things have changed a lot since Algos and 10 ended. Um, my hair is now permed up, Boston is now NBA champions, and we learned a new, very amazing programming language called GoLang or Go. So let's go Celtics, banner 18. As you can tell, this episode is the first pilot episode for a new series called Coding Missions, which is basically less about problem solving and more about just in general IT work, certifications, as I've both gotten AWS CCP Cloud Certified Practitioner and also AZ900, so double certs is pretty awesome. Also, I also teach you guys what type of cert to take and what not to take, and the tier list for the prep. And of course, also to celebrate the champion Boston Celtics, we have GoLang Celtics banner 18. Let's enjoy. By the way, this episode is actually sponsored by Vistaprint for the Celtics. So, of course, you know the dank meme from the COVID, old years of the tier list. I have here 5 levels, S, A, B, C, D, and I've taken many different type of certification prep classes for AZ900 and also for AWS CCP for the cloud certifications. And it's not really like, Dallas and Boston NBA Finals, not really like, Amazon and like, Microsoft having rivalry. It's more or less just figuring out what the certs are. So without further ado, here's the certification prep tier list. For the S tier, I love Tutorial Dojo. Yes, it's a bit pricey, but it's worth it. They give you plenty of practice tests, plenty of feedbacks, plenty of good stuff. I also love Wiz Labs. It's very easy. It does actually give you a lot of opportunities to just know what your weakness areas are. Also have, practice tutorial round to see the answers. It's a nice little preparation. Of course, Joe Mazzulla, the Boston Celtics champion coach, loves Quizlet. So do I. Quizlet is absolutely goated. Quizlet is amazing. Of course, Quizlet does have a slight downside, but still an S tier for the fact it may not be accurate. So make sure you double check your sources. For the A tier, shout out to my man Scott Duffy for AZ900 Udemy is goated, really good. A Cloud Guru, most of it's pretty good. Shout out to, Jess Alvarez, Faye McAllis, the Pluralsight A Cloud Guru, pretty decent. That got me basically that solid 800 plus in a difficult WCCP, helped me with the well-architected framework and also with the cloud adoption framework. A lot of good Amazon stuff. Okay, Udemy, other courses are a little bit pricey, a little more sus, but they're still okay to use. Pearson Measure Up, I haven't used it before, but heard some Reddit and social media says it's pretty good, but it'll make you feel like you're down 0-3 in the NBA Finals because you'll feel a little bad falling behind. But it's a good little see how you do type of test. Then C tier, third-party stuff from Reddit, AZ900, and a bunch of other links. But absolutely no way. This like losing the NBA Finals parlay is like the worst thing ever. Never, ever use dumps. Do not ever use dumps. They're not allowed. They're sinful. They're bad for your career. Because if you get interviewed, for example, let's say, for example, Jason, what are 3 types of computing models? And say, I don't know, man. You'll think your cert is basically like Jontay Porter. It's like, fake. It's bad. It's Jontay Porter energy. You get banned from like certifications, like Jontay Porter got banned from the NBA. Don't gamble on your career with certifications. By the way, the answer for that was IaaS, infrastructure as a service, SaaS, software as a service, and PaaS, platform as a service. There you go. Jason Liu is not a fraud. Yep, these are the certification tier list. For S tier was Tutorial Dojo, Wiz Labs Quizlet. A tier was Udemy with Scott Duffy, A Cloud Guru. B tier is other Udemy stuff, Pearson Measure Up. C tier is whatever Reddit stuff, and never ever use D tier, dumps, not allowed, boo, bad stuff. All right, The other more interactive part of the coding is going to be Banner 18 Intro to GoLang. So I'm using GoLang for work, also for personal learning. GoLang's been very hot in the analytics field for like computer science. It's also really good for data analyst for backend services. It's a really nice part for MeanStack. I'm going to show you guys how to use it with the playground, which is really easy to use in code. It's just like Jalen Brown, you don't have to go left on memory because Visual Studio Code install is very, very tedious for GoLang, not recommended for newbies. Just like Jason Tatum, you'll become top 5 or him or her, depending on your gender. In no time, it's like very easy learning curve compared to C, C++, Java. This is a really short, very basic throwback to BU CS 111, short code sorting exercise, just to get you guys back into, problem solving mode. So yes, coding missions is not really about problem solving. We have like some basic problem solving. It's not gonna be as advanced as Algos intend. It's just to like get you warmed up really. So it's like, a nice little cool down after like a nice little spin course. So it's a nice little, layup attempt into basketball. In source, I have been LinkedIn's GoLang certified thanks to David Gassner. That's really awesome. So without further ado, here is Banner 18 GoLang. So you see here I have the Go playground, which is pretty neat. We use some GoLang to get the numbers of the top 10 popular Celtics players. So reference for Jason Tatum, his number is 0, Jalen Brown is 7, Kristaps Porzingis, shout out to Lavia, is 8, Drew Holiday is 4, Derek White is 9, Al Horford, Dominicana Jefe, 42, Peyton Pritchard, 11, Sam Hauser, 30, Osha Brizzett, shout out to Brizzy for an amazing YouTube channel. I sub to it. 12, and finally Luke Cornett, 40. So for GoLang, you have 3 main ingredients. You have the package, which is mostly main. You have import, which could be somewhat of, somewhat of a interesting proposition here. So you have import format. I'm going to sort some functions over here. So we have a little bit of some exercise to do. We have all the Celtics numbers from Jason Tatum all the way to Luke Cornett. Now, I know you're going to ask me, where's JD Davison? Where's some bench members? Truthfully, I want to keep it only to 10 to make the sorting a little bit easier because once sorting goes past like 10 numbers in GoLang, it gets really, really tricky. So if you remember anything from GoLang slicings, you'll understand that this is like almost Python-esque. So you have Celtics, the top 5 starters, which is like the top 5 players, the starters of the Celtics, which will give you 0, 7, 8, 4, 9, the typical starters. And you'll have the bench, which is the rest of the Celtics lineup for the bench. So what we're going to do in this episode is going to sort the numbers, swap the numbers, similar to Coach Mazzulla, substituting players in a way, determine number of Celtics on the roster without using package functions. That's it. We're not going to use sort.ins or anything. That's not how championship coding performance goes. I did use Stack Overflow for a little bit of reference because I'm still a newbie myself at this. So without further ado, let's go get some coding going. So from Stack Overflow, we got a nice little solution here for codings. So we got a nice type sort struct. We got some functions. We got something good. So we use this as starter code for the sorting functions. I know normally we don't do copy pasta in Algos intent, but for this particular episode, we're just making something very, very basic because this is a completely new domain that I've never been part of before outside of like work. So we're gonna have type sort slice struct. So the slice, which is not SLI, it's gonna be called starters here, is gonna be int starter slice. Then you have func s sort slice and then len int. So I'm gonna return basically the starters, the length of the starter slice. Then you have func s sort slice swap I and j. So I is your pivot points. Remember from Algos in 10, very, very early episodes, when you do binary search, you switch between, the high pivot and the low pivot. You do this type of stuff. It's basically this with a little bit more it's a little bit easier in binary search because in terms of Go slices, they're actually immutable. So you can't really change the order of a slice without creating a new slice, object with the make function or copy function. That would be a more advanced function later in Coding Missions episode 2. We'll deal with Fibonacci numbers and also some July 4th stuff. So anyway, we have a swap function. We have this starters.sli. Let me just make sure I'm not messing this up. All right, whoops. So it's actually S. So S dot starters. My apologies. That's have to be very, very careful with some of these functions. So S dot starters, and we just basically return S dot starters everything, and S dot starters. Then we have also func S source slice less, which basically determines it's a number less than the other number. So of course, is S dot starters I greater than S dot starters J, return true, else return false. Okay, so we basically got our coding functions real easy. Now let's make sure it actually works, right? So how do you make sure a coding works? We run some test cases. So we're gonna do some very basic TDD, which is a very useful way to test your code at work or leak code or whatever you're doing, or even celebrating Boston Binary Team computer science style. This is another example of the function that we have here. So I have another example of a test case right here. Now, of course, this is, just for demonstration purposes. If this is an actual leak code assignment or like, OA, I would never copy code, but this is just a demonstration purpose for the episode. So we have, of course, our good old int slice again. This time we're going to make immutable in terms of data. So we're going to actually do this. We're going to actually make it with no size. So the number here, it determines the length of a slice, how long it should be. If it's going to be empty, it's immutable, which means it's basically indefinite size. So source slice is source slice data. Yeah, that's fine. And then sort slice. So let's give that a whirl. So we go to the run for a go and see how it goes. Okay, so program exited. That's fine. We could just do a little print line statement. So we can now do the following. Format dot print line sorted Celtics roster. This thingy. Let's run that again. Make sure the code works. Oops, I might have made a little boo-boo here. So this is why you have to be careful with some of your thing. Yeah, there we go. That should be it. Yes, that should be it. Okay, slice the user's value. Interesting. All right, let me try this again. Oh, I see. So you can't print it out quite like that. Okay, no problem. Math instead. You can see a little bit of debugging going on. That's all right. That's part of the episode. All right. So now we can do a little bit of Googling. So always use Google when you're doing coding at work or like non-OA assessments. Google is your best friend. It's like your partner in crime and your companion. You can see Go has been very popular in many companies. So you're gonna need a little special percentage V format for the values. So we're gonna do this. Let's give this a whirl. All right, we're not gonna be able to print out the stuff, but it should work. Oh, actually, I have a strategy. So this is another trick we could do for Go. You could look at the return value. So we want to make sure you actually understand the return value as well. So sort return values will be very important for the sort package. So we're not exactly using the sort.ints built-in package, basically using a sort package as overriding the original sort. I see. Okay. Oops. Okay, this is definitely something that wasn't good. Anyways, we're going to ignore this. So yeah, we have managed to implement basically a strut for the integers, way to return the length of the starters. From the Celtics roster slice, we mentioned we will swap the starters if we want to like be like Joe Mazzulla, swap the starters. And finally, compare starters to see if their points per game are amazing or not. So that's it for the coding part of the episode. So I'm gonna run this again, make sure it actually compiles before we go on. Interesting. Oh, whoops. Yep, it compiles again. Awesome. So there we go. That is how we basically use some GoLang for test cases. I'll have a more advanced version of assert equals and different types of TDD in a future episode. This is just a very basic introduction to how to use GoLang slices. So yep, that's it for the episode. Um, like and subscribe. Thank you. Jason Tatum, congrats on banner 18 for the Celtics. The next episode will be after July 4th, and we'll be using some Fibonacci numbers and go some fireworks. Like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Let's go Celtics. Bye.